Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a company that's been making headlines and causing some debate with investors. Supermicro Computer,
Yeah.
ticker symbol SMCI. You've probably heard about their wild stock swings, down 67% from its peak back in March 2024,
Wow.
and then surging over 90% in 2025.
Wow.
Currently sitting at $37.25.
Right.
So what is going on with this roller coaster ride? Well, that's exactly what we're here to unpack.
Yeah. What's interesting about Supermicro Computer is it's caught right in the middle of the AI explosion.
Right.
Supplying the servers and data center solutions that are driving this incredible wave of innovation. But at the same time, they're dealing with some serious challenges and uncertainties.
Right. And your notes actually highlight some of the recent volatility that's got investors on edge.
Exactly. Supermicro Computer stock is incredibly sensitive to news, both good and bad. For instance, in February, they managed to avoid being delisted from the Nasdaq just by the skin of their teeth. They finally filed some overdue reports, and boom, the stock shot up 21%.
Wow.
But then, almost immediately after, two company officers sold off a chunk of their shares, spooking investors and sending the stock tumbling down 11%.
It almost feels like every week there's a new twist in the Supermicro Computer saga.
Right.
Take that ongoing investigation in Singapore, for example.
Yeah, that's a big one. Authorities are looking into whether Supermicro Computer servers, potentially containing restricted chips, ended up in China. The geopolitical implications of that are huge, and, as you can imagine, the stock took a 6% hit on that news alone.
So we've got this company, Supermicro Computer,
Yeah.
trying to ride the AI wave while navigating some pretty choppy waters.
Yeah.
To really understand what's going on, we need to dig into their connection to the AI boom itself.
Yeah. That's where things get really interesting. Think of it this way. Supermicro Computer is essentially building the picks and shovels for the AI gold rush.
Okay.
Their servers are specifically designed to handle the massive computational demands of artificial intelligence. And they've formed a key partnership with NVIDIA,
Right.
integrating their powerful Blackwell GPUs into their systems.
Wow.
Those GPUs are like the brains behind AI, and the demand for them is through the roof.
And it's not just about raw computing power either, right?
Yeah.
From what I've read, Supermicro Computer has really been pushing the envelope when it comes to advanced cooling solutions, which are critical for keeping these high-powered systems running smoothly.
Absolutely. They've been at the forefront of direct liquid cooling technology.
Yeah.
It's fascinating stuff, essentially pumping liquid coolant directly onto the chips to prevent them from overheating under the intense workload of AI processing.
Right.
And it's this kind of specialized expertise that's attracting major players in the AI field. Some analysts are even projecting Supermicro Computer's revenue to hit a staggering $24 billion in fiscal year 2025.
That's a nearly 60% increase.
Mhm.
And you're saying the big chunk of that is expected to come from investments in AI-driven data centers.
Right.
That definitely paints a picture of a company with huge potential, but as with any investment, there are risks involved. And in Supermicro Computer's case, some of them seem pretty substantial.
You hit the nail on the head. We can't ignore the fact that they're operating in a very complex and uncertain environment. One of the biggest risks stems from the ongoing U.S.-China trade tensions. The potential for export restrictions on critical technologies, especially those advanced chips we talked about, could seriously hamper Supermicro Computer's growth.
And beyond the geopolitical issues, there's the fact that the server hardware market is becoming increasingly competitive.
Right.
Companies are constantly innovating, and Supermicro Computer's advantage might not be as strong as it once was.
That's an important point. Their competitive moat, as they call it, might be shrinking. And we also need to consider Supermicro Computer's track record when it comes to meeting earnings estimates. It's been a bit inconsistent, which can make some investors hesitant.
So we've got this mix of exciting potential and significant risks swirling around Supermicro Computer. Now, I'm curious, from a technical analysis perspective, what signals are you seeing in the charts?
Well, if you look at the chart you sent over, Supermicro Computer's price is currently testing a support level around $38, with resistance leaning between $48 and $63. Earlier this year, we saw what's called a death cross. Basically, that's when a short-term moving average dips below a long-term moving average, and it's often seen as a bearish signal.
That doesn't sound too encouraging, but I also see in my notes that the RSI, or Relative Strength Index, is nearing oversold territory. Could that hint at a possible bounce?
Yeah. It's certainly possible the RSI is essentially a momentum indicator that measures the magnitude of recent price changes to evaluate overbought or oversold conditions when the RSI dips below 30. It suggests the stock might be oversold and due for a rebound. But again, it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Right, so no crystal ball here. And to make things even more interesting, it seems like analyst opinions on Supermicro Computer are all over the map.
Exactly. Some analysts see Supermicro Computer as a hidden gem, a company that's undervalued and poised for massive growth as the AI revolution unfolds. They point to the NVIDIA partnership, the strong demand for their specialized servers, and their leadership in advanced cooling solutions as reasons to be bullish.
But then you've got other analysts who are waving red flags.
Yes, some analysts are concerned about those adverse auditor opinions on Supermicro Computer's internal controls. There's a possibility of financial restatements, which always makes investors nervous, and those geopolitical risks we talked about, especially the potential for export restrictions, are definitely weighing on their minds.
So with all these conflicting signals and opinions swirling around, what's an investor to do? Let's break down some potential investment strategies based on what we've learned.
Absolutely. Let's start with those who are seeking quick gains and are comfortable with a higher level of risk for those investors. Supermicro Computer could be an enticing short-term momentum play. The key here is to identify those catalysts that could trigger a sharp upward move, like a positive earnings surprise or a new partnership announcement.
But timing is crucial. Wouldn't you say you really need to be in and out at the right moment to capitalize on those short-term swings?
Precisely. And that's why having a clear exit strategy is absolutely essential. Setting a stop-loss order is crucial to limit your potential losses if the stock takes an unexpected turn. You're basically defining the maximum amount you're willing to lose on the trade.
Now let's shift gears and talk about investors who are more interested in the long-term potential of AI for them. Supermicro Computer represents a way to invest in the infrastructure that's powering this technological revolution.
That's right. Their partnership with NVIDIA gives them a significant edge in providing the high-performance computing power that AI applications demand. And with AI expected to become increasingly integrated into our lives, Supermicro Computer is well-positioned to benefit from this long-term growth trend.
And this is a big... But as we discussed earlier, there are some significant risks involved. The regulatory landscape is uncertain, competition is fierce, and their past performance hasn't always been consistent.
That's why it's so important for long-term investors to do their due diligence. You need to understand Supermicro Computer's financials, their competitive landscape, and any potential developments that could impact their business. Investing for the long haul requires patience, research, and a willingness to ride out some inevitable bumps in the road.
And finally, we have the wait-and-see approach. This makes sense for investors who are feeling a bit more cautious or who simply want more information before making a decision.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with sitting on the sidelines for a while and observing how things play out. You might decide to wait for Supermicro Computer's next earnings report, or for the dust to settle on some of these regulatory issues, or even for a more favorable entry point. Maybe you're watching the stock and waiting for it to dip below a certain threshold before you jump in.
The key takeaway here is to be patient and disciplined. Don't feel pressured to make a move until you're comfortable with the risk and reward profile.
Exactly. Every investor has a different risk tolerance and investment horizon. What works for one person might not work for another. The important thing is to understand the potential upsides and downsides of investing in a company like Supermicro Computer and then make a decision that aligns with your individual goals.
So Supermicro Computer presents a very compelling but also complex investment opportunity. It's a company with the potential for explosive growth, but also with its fair share of risks.
I couldn't agree more. It's a fascinating story that's still unfolding, and it will be interesting to see what the next chapter holds.
With Supermicro Computer seemingly caught between the promise of AI and the shadow of geopolitical uncertainty, what do you think the next chapter holds for this company? Will they become a leader in the AI-powered future, or will the challenges prove too great? It's a question worth pondering, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. The stakes are high, and the outcome is far from certain. Supermicro Computer's journey is definitely one that investors will want to keep a close eye on.
Absolutely. There's a lot riding on their ability to navigate these complex challenges and capitalize on the enormous opportunities in the AI space.
And that wraps up our look at Supermicro Computer here on Investing Talk Podcast.
Yeah.
We hope you found this discussion informative and helpful as you make your own investment decisions.
Remember, this is just a starting point for your own research.
Right.
It's crucial to do your due diligence, consider your own risk tolerance, and consult with a financial advisor if needed before making any investment decisions.
And if you enjoyed today's episode of Investing Talk Podcast, be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss out on future discussions about the companies and trends shaping the investment landscape.
And please share this episode with your friends, family, colleagues, anyone who might be interested in learning more about the exciting world of AI and its impact on the market.
Right.
We'd also love to hear your thoughts on Supermicro Computer's future. Leave a comment and tell us what you think. Will they become a leader in the AI-powered future, or will the challenges prove too great?
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Investing Talk Podcast.